On the Radio is brought to you by Zurich Insurance, the perfect place to catch up with all things Melbourne. If you enjoy this content and want more inside access from the team, make sure you visit the club website.
Yes, welcome one, welcome all to the Sanctum this morning. It's a Tuesday morning, it's glorious, sun shining in Melbourne town. Where else would you rather be than Casey Fields? And that's where Max Gawn, I assume, is getting ready for a match in Adelaide on Saturday night. Not just any match, a qualifying final, because they are top of the ladder after the home and away season, after a fairly dramatic Saturday evening down in Geelong. Max, good morning.
Yeah, down at the Fields half. Love your catchphrase, welcome one, welcome all. You run with it every single week, though.
Well, it's just a welcome. It's just a general love affair, just bringing people into the bosom, Max.
You've got copyright on that now, for sure.
I reckon I pinched it from someone, but I'm running with it. How are you feeling, mate, after such a big performance, after an emotional wave, I imagine, that rolled through Saturday night and having to come down from that? How are you feeling at the moment?
Yeah, Saturday was a bit of a different game, I suppose.
You reckon?
Yeah, I was watching Richmond Hawthorn in the afternoon, and that was a cliffhanger, and then supposedly the Brisbane West Coast game was as good, if not better. They actually paused our game. We were about to do our centre bounce, and the umpire said, "Oh, sorry guys, we've got to wait a minute." And then on the big screen, the Brisbane West Coast game came on. So we understood where Channel 7's thoughts and prayers were. They were on the Brisbane West Coast game, but and then obviously we started not too bad, but in the second quarter was a bit iffy from us, and they kicked 4 centre bounce goals in a row, which 4 centre bounce goals pretty hard to defend and pretty hard to coach against. So we were able to clean that up at half time and then do our bit in the second half, and I was able to get on the end of one late.
So I'm interested in that because, that game in Brisbane did go late, and I thought they might have to delay your game, so I'm not surprised to hear that. But I'm interested in that because it was clear that it was centre bounce and clearance work that was getting a hold of you when Geelong went on that 9-goal stretch from late in the first to the start of the third. How did you turn that around? How did you fix that?
Yeah, so the centre bounce goals are a bit of a different one because you can have the game completely the way you want. But if you give up 4 or 5 centre bounce goals, the game still looks the way you like, but you're 5 goals behind. So to clean it up is obviously what you want to do and what we'll focus in on at half time, and making sure that we didn't give away any of them, because the rest of the team, how many players in the centre bounce? 4. So the 14 other players are all playing really good football, and the football that we wanted to play against Geelong. So we cleaned it up a little bit in the third quarter and then started to get it on our favour in the fourth.
Now, we're not interested in second quarter stuff, centre bounce stuff. We're interested in what happened at the end. So take us through what was going through your mind from the moment that Cam Guthrie kicked it out of bounds on the full. Where were you at that point, and did you... Yeah, take us through it.
So when Guthrie kicked it out on the full, first of all, the deliberate, I thought it was going to be a throw-in, so I was setting up for a throw-in, and then it all happened really quickly, and Guthrie got the kick, and I wasn't even in the down-the-line contest. I was sort of in the middle of the ground, and once Jake Lever, I knew that was going to be 50 straight away. Those are usually 50 if you punch it over the line. I think I've been done for that.
Yep.
So I started running and just started tracking forward. I knew we had a bit of time in terms of how long it takes Jake Lever to run 50 metres, so I didn't have to get carried away and do a massive sprint or a massive effort. I just sort of ran a cruising pace down, and there was way too many people in the goal square. So even to get a mark there, if the kick did go there, it would have been one unbelievable mark. So I just thought I'd plonk myself in front and locked eyes with Rick Lever, and one thing led to another. But once I took the mark, Whitey, my first initial thought was, why did I do this? I could have just left it to someone else, but why have I got myself in this position again? But then, in fact, I'll go for the first sort of 10 seconds. I was rushing. I was trying to kick the goal really quickly, and I don't know why. And I was rushing, and I started walking in just before the siren. Then the siren went, and that was a blessing in disguise. So that made me reset. And once the siren went, I wasn't missing, Whitey.
There was never a doubt. When I closed my eyes, how did you go?
Yeah, I closed my eyes as well. Well, actually, I'm not sure if you've watched back the vision, but I look at the scoreboard and that doesn't help. That shows that it's 2 points down and the game's gone. So I'm not sure why I looked at the scoreboard, but no, I'd been in that situation before. I've actually had a lot of kicks after the siren, not to win the game, but a few just after the siren. It's quite a nerve-wracking kick at the best of times, let alone to take a minor premiership and to win a game of football after a 44-point turnaround. So it was nerve-wracking. But I mean, Stephen May put me at ease. He said he'll love me no matter what, which I thought was conceding. I thought he was conceding pretty early there. I would have rathered him saying, "I'll back you in, mate."
Yeah, no, that's definitely. Oh, I think you're going to miss this, but I'll try and make it sound nice. That's what that says.
Yeah, correct. And then, obviously, with no crowd half, I'm not sure if it was better with or without crowd, but I could hear all the Geelong players, especially Tomahawk on the mark. He was giving me some of his best, and then a couple of my teammates thought they were hearing too much, so thought they'd put some support out there. I'm like, that's not helping. Angus, shut up.
So, Max, with that mark you took, did you know that Jake wasn't going to go for goals? So not necessarily that it was a set play, but based on the fact he was going to have to kick at 55, and from a time perspective, was it almost like a half set play that you would set up to that point and he would kick it the way he did?
Well, we do a thing of training where we have a set shot after every drill. So let's say there's 6 drills in a session, and you got to finish all 6 goals. And so if you don't get 5 out of 6, you got to keep going and in front of everyone. The other day, Jake Lever got up to about 17. So I wasn't liking his chances. And then when he got pulled up just past the 50, I knew he wasn't going to have a shot. I didn't know that necessarily he was coming for me until we locked eyes, but there was a lot of guys that went down there. Stephen May was there. Trent Rivers was just behind me, just as I marked it, so there was a few options for him.
You did point your finger to the space, though. It was the vision I watched again last night, where you're pointing to the space in front of where you are, about 15 metres out, for him to kick it there. It did look like he had practiced that before.
Where did you get the vision? I haven't seen it.
It was behind the goals vision.
Yeah, that's a joke half. I've watched it 207 times.
You're an idiot.
No, it certainly is an option for us not to just bomb it to the top of the square, to pull your kicks and find targets. And myself, Christian Petracca, Tom McDonald, Benny Brown, these sort of guys, we have sort of a license to lead in different areas when we're inside 50, and that's the area I chose.
So that's the end product, and that's really cool, and it was amazing, and the celebrations were awesome, and the emotion afterwards was fantastic, and to finish on top of, for that to be the kick that gets you on top of the ladder at the end of the home and away season is quite remarkable. So that's awesome. But you're 32 points down at three-quarter time. Nobody does that to Geelong in Geelong. How did you do that? I mean, what happened at three-quarter time? What was changed? What was said to get to that situation where you can come out and win that game of footy, Max?
Well, I mean, I said at the start, we certainly had faith in the way we were playing. The 4 centre bounce goals hurt us. So that puts us, I mean, out of the 32 points, what's that? That's 24 of those points. So apart from that, we thought the game was in a pretty good place for us, and we just knew we had to tidy up that part. So once we won the first centre bounce and Christian kicked it to Cosy and we kicked a goal, there's belief straight away that we've cleaned up the area that we're getting smashed at. And then we just played our footy for the rest of the time. And some amazing individual efforts, like Jake Lever's last quarter was superb, and Clayton Oliver's game, but his last quarter as well was absolutely superb. So some guys said, no, we're not losing this, and put the rest of us on their back, and it's infectious when it happens. When you watch Clayton Oliver go for some of the contested balls he does, when you're 40 points down, it's infectious. It goes through the whole team, and then all of a sudden you see Cosy Pickett and Charlie Spargo doing it as well. And once you get momentum, it's one of the hardest things to stop. We found that with Geelong in the second quarter. Once you get momentum, you can try a lot of things, but the team's up and about, and they feel invincible in a way. Like Reece Stanley in the second quarter, he won a couple of centre bounces, and then it almost became everything I tried. He was just as confident as a player as I've rucked against in that second quarter, and Danger was similar. He just, anything he did was touch into gold, and that's what happens with momentum. So we were able to capitalise on that in the last quarter.
Just on Clayton Oliver, 18 disposals in the second half and 27 contested possessions for the match. It was quite remarkable what he was able to do. I'm just interested, Max, on, as Daniel said, no one does what you did to Geelong in Geelong to come from 32 points down. The confidence that must now give the group going into a final series, knowing what's possible. I mean, can you quantify that? Is it a tangible or is it an intangible about what that's going to do to you?
It's a great way how it worked out that the top four played each other in that last game of the year. No matter what, win, lose or draw, that was going to be something we can use going into the final series, and it's worked out really well because the first half we had some amazing findings and learnings that we'll go through today, and then the second half we also had some amazing findings and learnings to capitalise on momentum and how we play our best footy. So it's worked out really well as a learning curve, not just for finals. That was a round 10 game for the rest of our year. So we already had some confidence after our last month. Obviously, post Western Bulldogs loss, we've gone out and beaten Adelaide, Gold Coast and West Coast in that thrilling game over in Perth, and that gave us a fair bit of confidence going into this game, and it will then go on and give us some confidence in this Brisbane game, who are also, I think, 4 or 5 definitely on the trot. So it's two form teams going head to head.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, and Brisbane have been awesome at times over the last month. There's no break now between the home and away season and the final series. Are you already in finals mode, or is that to come? Are you already starting to think about Brisbane? It's only a few days away.
Yeah, the way we structure up our week is yesterday we come into the club and we go through about 10 minutes of our game, just short little overall themes, and then we go 10 minutes into Brisbane. So we flick the switch to Brisbane straight away, and that's normal. We start talking about the other club on Monday afternoon, and today we'll do a little couple of things like a stoppage class on probably the centre bounce, to be honest, and then we will target that towards Brisbane. So we'll see our learnings that Danger, Selwood and Stanley gave us, and then we'll put that into context with McInerney, Lockie Neal and Zorko and players like that.
There's a fair bit of history that happened on Saturday night. The first time since 1964 that your club finished on top of the ladder. Are you aware of that stuff going in, Max? Does Simon Goodwin bring that up through the week? Does he talk about it afterwards? Because there was some serious emotion after the game on the field from what I could see.
Yeah, we wanted to finish as high as we can, and when the chance came in round 23 that the highest we can was potentially first, that's something we wanted to do. So we set out at the start of the year to be the best team in the comp, and I think that's all 18 teams are saying that they want to be the best team in the comp, and we were able to stick to that, and we had a chance to do it in round 23. I didn't realise when I took the mark how big it was. I was actually, once I kicked the goal, I was just going to turn around and do a little fist pump, and then Alex Neil-Bullen was already jumping on me, so my mind was made up on my celebration pretty quickly. But I didn't. When you see the stuff that's come from it, the minor premiership, the first time Melbourne's won a game after the siren and stuff like that, certainly wasn't in my mind in that last quarter.
You did know it straight off the boot, though. You turned straight away. You knew it.
Yeah, that's the thing with my set shots. Half they either go dead straight or they're a real nasty hook.
I was hoping you'd aim inside right post. Just in case.
That's right. I was thinking exactly that. I thought left forward pocket. Even if you hook it, there's still a chance it'll hook after it's gone through because you were close enough.
It's actually the ideal spot on the ground for me to have a set shot. So maybe that's why I led there.
Yeah. Hey, I'm interested in Christian Petrarca after the game. For those that haven't seen it, Channel 7 have put it on their socials with an interview where he broke down and talked about hoping that Melbourne supporters are proud about wearing the jumper and proud about being a Melbourne supporter with what they've all gone through over the past however many years. Did that resonate with you, Max, with what you've gone through as a Melbourne player? You've been there longer than Christian has, but I'm just interested in your thoughts off the back of what Christian had to say.
Yeah, Christian's he speaks his emotions. He's very good. He's actually turned into a great media performer, and we over this last month with everything that's going on in the world and football alone, to not have Melbourne fans at games during this period is quite devastating for them. And we don't know all the fans. We certainly know our family and friends, and we can feel how they're feeling, not being able to get to games and not being able to celebrate that with us at Geelong, and not be able to come on this journey with us over the next few weeks. And Christian just felt that at the moment. He obviously wanted to celebrate with the Melbourne faithful, and they weren't there, and it made him tear up. And it is quite good. And people can say it's the minor premiership, we're over celebrating, but take out the minor premiership and take out the time of the year. That's a 44-point turnaround at Geelong. With a kick after the siren. We're going to carry on like that after a round 2 win. So, yeah. I think I really enjoyed what he did post game, and I know he's got a big month ahead of him, and we're going to try and include our family, friends, and supporters as much as we can, because it's been a tough month, tough year, tough 18 months for everyone, including AFL footballers.
You're making a lot of people feel special at the moment, Max. Is that? It's not so much is that a responsibility, but is that a pressure, or is that something you're embracing and helping carry you potentially through this final series about how you're making people feel?
No, I think responsibility is a good way to say it. I think we've got a really good leg up that we're able to keep working, and we're able to leave our house during lockdown to train and put on some entertainment on TV, and that's a responsibility. And to make sure that we don't live in our own bubble, although that's probably a bad way to say it, because we do have to live in our own bubble, but let everyone else in as much as we can is really important. And one other thing that took away a bit of the gloss on the weekend is there was only the 22 players there, so 20 players that were stuck at home didn't enjoy that feeling that we had on the weekend, and we got to try and include everyone. I think that is AFL's responsibility at the moment. We're one of the only things that's continuing on and bringing people some joy in this time. And, I think it is a responsibility, Whitey.
The footy on Saturday certainly brought a lot of joy to a lot of people. It was brilliant for all those stuck at home, but was a great drama unfolding from start to finish on Saturday, as you mentioned, with Hawthorn Richmond all the way through to your game on Saturday night. How do you do the family and friends thing now, Max? Because my understanding is that obviously you're going to Adelaide for the game this week against Brisbane on Saturday night, but then you've been told you're off to Perth regardless of what happens, and family and friends won't be able to go. So how do you stay connected with them and get through this period with them and bring them along for your journey?
Yeah, they've gone pretty strong. I'm pretty sure the borders, the premiers about families, and I can understand why it's definitely a bad look that AFL footballers can jump borders, let alone families. So I can understand the situation that we're in, and I'm in a tricky situation, not as tricky as some, but hopefully Jess doesn't come early and the pregnancy can hold on. But I think she'll be around 36 or 7 weeks grand final day. So. They say, I'm not an expert in this, but they say the first one normally goes the full term, so hopefully I've got a couple of weeks up my sleeve to get back. But we got some very interesting situations with Jake Lever and Tom McDonald having newborns in the last month, and Nathan Jones has got twins right smack bang in the middle of finals. So everyone's got difficulties, and we'll work through them as best as we can, but it looks like it's a league-wide thing, and you see what the Sydney players are going through, and they're hubbing with their families currently, and it looks like their families aren't going to be able to come to the games as well. So everyone's through difficulties, and it's first world problems when you look at what's going on around Australia.
So you're fully expecting, hopefully you're going a fair bit, fairly deep into the final, so you're fully expecting to be away from when you go this week to Adelaide. You won't be back until the end.
My gut feel is when we start isolating tomorrow, that could be it for Jess for a little bit. She obviously keeps working, so she'll work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so that means I can't see her over those 3 days before I even go to South Australia as well. And then my gut feel is once we're in South Australia, win or loss, I'm presuming our next game is going to be either in Adelaide or Perth, so we'll probably stay that way.
Well, as Whitey said, there's a lot of people very, very proud of what your football club has done this season, and we were pretty pumped for you having that moment on on Saturday night to win the game and put the D's top of the ladder as the captain of the club. What a moment for you, and congratulations on the All-Australian squad nomination as well, Max. Great to chat as always. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the first final. Hopefully you win, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jen. Speak soon.
You're a good man. Maxie Gawn with us from the D's, the captain of the best team in football. Oh, I forgot to ask him. Is he still there?
Hey, I'm still here.
Oh, I forgot to ask you. Sorry, I mentioned before, you mentioned before, Rick Lever. Now, where does Rick come from?
Does that scare you that I always stay on for a couple of seconds just to see what you say about my interview?
Yeah, absolutely. It does.
You popped up in my porridge.
No, Rick Lever came from an old assistant coach, Craig Jennings, used to run our opposition meetings, and he just looked at Jake Lever and called him Rick and said, "You look like a Rick, and I'm going to call you Rick from now on." And the funny thing is, he actually looks like a Rick.
He does.
You know what? This is the reason you hang on, Max, because there was always going to be a moment I needed to get back to you for some great comedy, and you've nailed it today. Well done.
Thanks, guys.
Max Gawn, the skipper of the D's, good mates with Rick Lever from the Melbourne Football Club.